Leroy Jethro Gibbs is a fictional character in the long-running TV series NCIS. He is the head of a group of agents investigating crimes, and he has certain rules, and every so often they refer to Rule 13 or Rule 9 or whatever. I don't know if there's an actual official list of these rules, and I'm not sure I even agree with most of the rules he has. But there is one that when it comes up, I always jump on it because it is so good. Rule number 5. Rule number 5 simply says, don't waste good. So if one of his agents makes a mistake and they even think that person's going to get fired and he doesn't fire the person, his answer usually is rule number 5, don't waste good. You're still good. I'm not going to throw it away. Don't waste good. And it was that rule, or those 3 words, that kept coming back to me as I was reading this gospel parable earlier this week. The seeds. Don't waste good. Did you notice most of the seeds are wasted? Most of them are wasted. That's in the parable. They're on the path. They're among thorns. They're on the rocks. Only a few are in good soil. If we believe the seed is good, and it is, and we'll get to that in a little bit, we also realize we want to treasure the seed. You don't waste treasure, you don't waste good. And I had that driven home to me some years ago when I was in El Salvador. I was up in the hills, the mountains really, visiting Miguel and his family, a very impoverished neighborhood. And they were trying to grow some corn. They had a little bit of property, and I doubt that it was bigger than if I take this part of the church here, sweep this part across from that wall to that wall. I don't think it was as big as this entire church. And it was up on the side of the mountain, and it was rocky, but there was some corn growing there. Now, corn is very important because the corn is used for their own eating, not to feed animals. They would take the corn, they would get it ground, and that would become the cornmeal. That was a staple for almost everything they ate. So it was very important. But I even said to him, I said to Miguel, who had actually lived in Wood County with me for a while years ago, I said, how do you plant the corn? You can't cultivate the ground like we do here. And he said, I'll show you. So we started walking up the hill, and he took 2 things with him. One was sort of a gunny sack, and it had some kernels of corn in it, some seeds. The other one was like a walking stick, like the walking stick you had when you came in today. And he said, this is what we do, is we take the stick, and we see between the rocks there's some dirt, some ground. We knock a hole into the ground. Then we take 1 kernel of corn, put it in, we step on it, which closes it, and then we take another step and do the same thing over and over again. That's how they planted the seeds. But what I appreciated was that they were making the best out of something that was really not very good at all. And of course, they would do this right before the rainy season would come so that the seeds would grow. And they did grow. They certainly did not produce like around here, but they did grow and they produced. The other thing I appreciated was how every grain of seed counted. Don't waste good. Each one was good. Each one had the potential to grow. If you think about the image of the seed that Jesus used, and there's a number of parables about seeds, it's almost the most universal image you could come up with. Seeds are used in every culture, every country of the world. Through the ages, into the 21st century, seeds still matter. The seed is the symbol of life. It has that potential to grow, to produce for a harvest. We just had the harvest of wheat around here, which was just wonderful to look at this year, just beautiful. But the seed also requires some investment from the person. In other words, the seed needs good soil, it needs rain, it needs to be fed nutrients. Some of that we don't have to do ourselves. Sometimes nature takes care of it. It also has to be protected, especially when there are these vicious weeds And we all know that weeds grow faster than the seeds that we plant. Have you ever noticed that? A little bit unfair, but weeds grow faster. I like that image because using the image of a seed is not just saying it's something good that's being planted into our life, but Jesus is also saying, and I want your participation in it. You've got something to do with it too. We're not just on the receiving end, we are also participants. The seeds are planted. What are the seeds? Well, the Word of God, yes. Our faith life, for sure. Jesus himself planted in love in our hearts, of course. And we can find many ways to say what the seed is. But what we know for sure is the seed is good. And it's growing. And we have to help it grow. We participate. And we don't want to waste it. Other people have planted seeds of faith in our lives. Have you ever thought about that? If you think about maybe your teachers, your parents, grandparents, other people have planted seeds that have helped grow in our hearts and made a difference for who we are. And there's also others out there who are counting on us to plant seeds of faith for them and to help them grow. I was reading about the seed vault that's on the island of Svalbard, Norway. Well north into the Arctic Circle in the North Sea, there's an island. And on this island, there's a seed vault that has been developed. And their goal is to gather seeds from all over the world. Right now, there are close to 1 million varieties of seeds that they have, and they have a number of seeds of each kind. They're kept in very carefully packed boxes with both temperature and moisture controls. There's a lot more out there that they're still trying to get. And the whole idea is if there is a worldwide catastrophe and we have to start over, there would be seeds to start life again. I find a little security in that. I hope we never have to use those seeds. But at the same time, as much as I appreciate what they're doing, I also know that we don't want to just take the seeds of goodness planted in us and just store them away. We want them to grow, and we want them to come to fruition, to make a difference in the world. Don't waste good.